Another week in paradise. Sorry, I'm just checking one more thing. It is paradise over here, isn't it, in the UK? Actually,
I wouldn't know. I'm not in the UK. Haven't
I was
been
just
there
thinking,
for 100 years.
As I said that, I thought, oh my goodness, that's like calling a South African Australian. You just don't do that.
Yeah, that's just mean.
Yeah.
Wait, you're South African, Pete?
Yeah, but when people say to me, where are you from? Are you from Australia? Oh, my goodness.
He claims to be.
Australians are like our enemies when it comes to sport. It's funny how like countries have rivalries and it all stems from sport. Helena, is it Helena? Is that right?
Ellen, yes.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, thank you. And you?
Good. I've seen you messaging. Where are you from?
From France.
Cool. All I know is, I've got some French people that I talk to. We have quite a lot of French customers actually.
Yes.
And I always like to just say salut rather than bonjour.
Bonjour, yes.
It's nice to speak to you. Ben, who works for us, he's actually got your dad French, isn't he, Ben?
Yeah, my dad was French. Yeah. Although my French is a little bit rusty. By little, I mean very rusty.
Okay.
Come on, you need to embrace your heritage, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be spending a little bit more time over there next year. So
In France.
throwing myself into the deep end.
I must say that's yeah. I do love the French for bringing all their wine to South Africa, and we wouldn't have as good wine if it wasn't for the French. So I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Hi Tim, how's it going?
Hey, yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah,
Familiar accent.
yeah.
Where are you based?
Down in southeast of the UK, down in Tunbridge Wells.
Tunbridge Wells. I always think that sounds so posh, that place.
Yeah.
No. Tunbridge Wells.
No, Royal Tunbridge Wells.
Oh yeah, it's royal, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but no one ever calls it that.
I've driven through there actually. It's quite nice.
Yeah, yeah. You got your posh bits, but yeah, not at this end. I'm in Southborough, so not quite as posh.
That's all good. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think we are recording this. If you guys are happy, if you're not happy, just let us know. But it's just nice because then we can maybe cut it up for people who might need help on this plugin. So I'm not very prepared for this. I'm not going to lie to you because it's been a crazy morning for me, and so I'm just going to go with it, and we'll just see where we go. But yeah, this workshop's basically just to show. I hope you guys like our Cosmos, by the way. Anyway, so this is just to show our new plugin, which we're launching today. And I think the launch is going to be, a public beta version, but it is going to be fully functional. There may just be some few little, maybe, I don't know, quirks that just need ironing out, but it all works fully well. So I thought I'd just show you, get going with the plugin. So I've just got this fresh WordPress installed with Divi. When it decides to act like it's doing in the past. Sometimes, okay, I don't know what's going on there. So, I mean, this website has nothing other than just Divi. Yeah, there you go. It just has Divi installed, no plugins, nothing, apart from Divi membership, which I've just literally installed. So, Divi membership plugin helps you create membership websites. So things such as you might have a blog, which you have premium content that you want to restrict for paid users. There's quite a few use cases. We've even you can provide specific videos. So if you think of a fitness kind of website or a yoga kind of style website where you have a paywall, people have to sign up and then they get access to premium content. It can even be used. It can be used in so many different ways. And this one specific is the first plugin specific for Divi, which we think is pretty cool. And it'll work really well with our other plugins like Divi Machine, and so they all go together. So I thought it can seem quite complicated because of the amount of variety of membership style websites there are. But what we have done is, if you just head over to membership settings, actually I think we have a walkthrough which you can do, which walks you through the settings. But we also have a really handy tool which we just added, which is to import some demo content for you. And I think this is probably the easiest way to get going with this plugin, to kind of work out how it goes. And we'll just import. We're actually going to work on this to make it better. But initially, the posts that we import are pretty bland. So I thought it would just be a case if I just go through that, and then we can just walk through the plugin that way. So if you just click import, it'll just ask you if you're happy with importing the data. And then it's imported. But don't worry, you can actually just remove everything that we import. So you can do it, you can have a little look, and then you can just remove it. And it's like nothing's happened. So there's quite a bit of content here, but this should help you get going. So after you do that import, one of the things you need to think about is setting up your payment gateways. If you need to take payments for Stripe, we offer payments for Stripe and PayPal. So you need to set that up in order to actually take the subscriptions. What we have added is we've added 2 users. So if I just go into the admin over here, we've just literally added 2 dummy users, a pro user and a basic user. We've imported in some memberships. Now, don't worry about this screen just yet, but we've added a basic membership and a pro membership. We've also added some categories to the posts. So we have a demo. So we have demo basic and demo pro categories, and then we've also added a whole bunch of posts here, which you can see just 4 posts, 2 that are pro and 2 that are basic. So you can see that actually with our importer, I want to make it a bit more, a bit better than just simply demo pro post 1, but it'll help you get going for now, So the idea of this membership site with this demo is we're having these blog posts, and we have some available to basic users and some available to pro users. That's kind of how it works. And then we've also imported some pages for you. Pricing page, which is kind of like your kind of shop window, I guess, saying, here we go, sign up to our basic or pro membership. Thank you page, sign up and register page. So that's like all the content that we've added. And I think it's useful to kind of think about the customer journey and what the customer will do. So the idea of the membership sites is a customer will arrive at a pricing page, and they'll see the benefits of the memberships. They will then choose a membership. So for example, I want to go for the pro membership. They click on that, takes them to a register page. If they are already logged in, it then shows them a sign up form. So you either have a register form, which then you add your user details to register to the site, as well as signing up to the applicable membership, or it'll show a sign up form with the memberships. Once they do that, they then sign up to the membership and using PayPal or Stripe. And depending on the type of membership, if it's a recurring membership, it'll then recur the payments however you set it up. So there is one little quirk which we have at the moment, which even though we've imported in all this data. The memberships just require just to click save changes again, and I'll show you how easy that is. So if you just go to basic and just go update membership, well, save membership. Oh, there you go. And then just go here. And I was doing this. So if you just click on save membership over there, and the pro one, I'm just going to save that as well. So that will be fixed shortly, but that's just a little quirk which we have over there. And yeah. So now I think it's useful to have a look at how it looks. So if we go to, for example, as a logged out user and we go to this post, we can see that this user has, that's one thing I've missed out in our importer. Okay, so backtracking, sorry. The very first thing you need to do, and this is where that walkthrough is useful. The very first thing you need to do is to tell our plugin what content you want to use in the restriction. So right now we have nothing enabled, and the reason we do this is because then it's just trying to help with like the speed of the website. So if we automatically enable every single content on your website, it can just slow things down. So right now I'm just going to say I didn't enable this before I ran the importer, but you just want to enable posts, and in that way it'll then allow us to then choose posts over here, for example. So the way the importer is done, okay, so you basically choose what you want to use in the membership, and then you head over to Divi membership and memberships, and this is where you create your memberships. So the import demo content has created 2 memberships for you, but I'll just run through the settings. So for example, I have this pro membership, and then I have a basic membership. So that's kind of the first thing you need to do. You need to set up these memberships. So description is just the description of the membership. Billing cycle. So here is you can set up as many billing cycles or as little as you want. And there's a number of different options here. So you can say monthly, annual. That's just a title. Choose, is it recurring? Is it one time? The frequency, the duration, the price. If you're running a sale, you have a sale price. Monthly, and then display format is will appear on the sign up form after like the /, which I'll show you. So we can say per month, per year, for example. Members, you don't really want to be adding members here, and you can do it manually, but the way members will be added to this is when they sign up to the membership, they will get automatically added in this section over here. You can add them manually, but you kind of want to let them go through that process. Then here's kind of the key part is now you need to say, okay, for everybody who has this pro membership, what do they have access to? And then depending on what they have access to, it will then restrict it for a logged out user. So for example, I'm logged out on this one. I'm logged out on this one, and you can see I can actually still see this is the demo post content, right? So still logged out users have access to that. But if I say, okay, I want whoever has a pro membership to have access to the demo pro category, and also actually I want them access to the basic category. So we say that. It will then restrict that content based on that. Okay, for some reason it's not working on this now. I did upload a brand new version which I was just testing beforehand, so that's probably the issue. Oh, that's not good, is it? I need to actually upload, I think, the previous version, which I was playing with. Sorry, guys.
That's the thing with live demos.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I mean, I basically was just I was just updating that demo import, and then I think I might have done something. So I'm sorry about that. Let's just go
We'll
here.
survive.
Please don't hate me for that.
Never.
We love you, Pete.
We accept you for all you are.
So, why's it, for some strange reason? Sorry, where's this? Okay, I think what happened was I was actually signed in. I had an incognito window, but I was signed in another incognito window, so it was then saying that I was signed in. So I've just gone into Firefox. Okay, sorry. So I'm signing in Firefox, and you can see that this post is only available to members now. So this demo post, pro post 1. So if we just add, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna add some more content here. I'm sorry, guys. This is so you can see that this is the content of the post, and if I'm signed out of it, I will only see this notice. This post is only available to members. However, if I'm signed in, I will then see all the content because I'm signed in as a user that has access to that membership. I'm signed in as hello, for example. Okay, so does that make sense? So I've created this membership. I have a member assigned to it. I have the access. So basically, whoever has access to this membership has access to the categories Demo Pro and Demo Basic. I have this post called Demo Pro Post 1. It's assigned to Demo Pro's category. Therefore, any users who access that, as you can see, it's actually in Spanish. I don't know why. Will get this notice that they do not have availability. But if you are a user that has access to it, you see the full content. Okay, so before I kind of carry on, I just want to open up to anybody who may have questions about what I've gone through at the moment, or if it's kind of making sense up to now.
Yes, I've got one question.
Yeah.
Can I choose to activate a membership or not? Like it's always automatic, where I can say yes or no to someone who apply to my website?
At the moment, it's anybody who signs up to it will have access to it.
Okay.
So there is no
approval process.
Approval, yeah. There is no approval at
okay.
the moment.
Okay.
But that does sound like a really good idea as well, that we can do. It's so this plugin, because it's the very start. A lot of the time is we like to hear from our customers and then add stuff and go in the direction that people want. You know, so we can look to add that for sure.
Okay. And there was a question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It was I don't need WooCommerce to run with the Divi membership.
No.
Okay.
And you don't need any other Divi engine plugins. So this works with like Divi blog module and things like that. However, it does also work with our plugins. Like
okay. And does it work with WooCommerce too? If I've got a WooCommerce website?
It should work with WooCommerce. I mean, I must admit, I haven't personally tested it, but it will work because it's a custom post type and it works with custom post type. So I can't see any problems.
Okay.
Like a useful application of that, I think, would be is like if you have, let's say, wholesale customers, you've got a wholesale club where wholesale customers have access to different products or different bundles that your regular consumers do. So I think that would be a great application of that.
Yes. Okay. So I'm glad I haven't completely lost everybody, because I feel like I was a bit, as I said, I wasn't very prepared for this before he came on. Okay, so we currently have this post that's hidden. Sorry, anybody else have any questions at the moment before I move on? Cool. So we have this post hidden at the moment for non-members, and obviously it available for members. So next thing to kind of move on to, I think, is the features. Okay, so here we go. When you create a membership, you can also add features. These are simply for your pricing table, for your sale page, to showcase what the features are of the membership. We just to kind of go through next, we have over here members. When somebody signs up to a membership, they then get added in here. Reporting, when people sign up and payments come through, it'll then appear here. And then same as subscriptions. Because I just added these users in, those two users in using my import tool, nothing's showing up because there is no subscription for those users. It's just simply for content restriction access. Then go back to Divi membership settings. So here we go. You can remove the content if you wish. The next thing to look at is endpoints. So we create an account area, which we have as /account. But like we know in France or Spain, you might want to have it as different. What's this? I think it might be this Divi settings. There we go. This Divi dynamic CSS, it's crazy. Anyway, so this is how the account area looks. And you kind of have your dashboard, you have your memberships, invoices, payment methods, and edit account area. So you can customize the appearance of these. So you can do all that. But basically the URL /account, you can change over here. The same way for your members. So we have a way to showcase all the members. And when you click on a member and you go to the member's profile page, you can also change the URL of this. So it can be like /member /Peter, for example, or whatever you want it to be. And then
would that also be the index of all the members, Pete? Sorry.
So no, so you'd have to create a page for that.
Okay.
Like the members archive page, you create a page for that.
Got it.
And you'll use one of our modules. And this is where I will improve the importer to have all these pages as well set up. And then the login page. So when somebody is not logged in and they go to the account area, they'll be redirected to the login page. And all of these have descriptions on each of the settings if you need help. Business settings. So here we go. You add in your business settings. This is more for the invoicing and other aspects. So this would be like your company. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. My typing. Your company and then your address. And then invoices. We create invoices for when somebody signs up and they make a payment. So you can add your logo here. You can change the invoice prefix and all the text that appears on the invoices. Okay, so that's kind of some of the setup things. Now, this is the content restriction areas, kind of where a lot of the stuff that happens, that could, you have a lot of flexibility here in terms of how it displays for the user. So you see it says this post is only available for members. This is where you can change what happens here. So people do things differently, and so we have to offer different settings. So for example, if you are using the theme builder to create your single post pages, in this case, you then have these settings over here. If you're using the default template, which I'm doing, this is simply just the default template. These are the settings that appear here, and then I'll explain the archive loop page after that. So for example, I'm just gonna do this. For example, I thought that would go well. I thought that goes this. Okay, so for example, I'm on this default one, and I actually want to hide the title. I can do that, and then I can reload this page, and the title will be hidden now. Or I can show the title, and again, it'll show. And then we also have post meta and thumbnail. You can also display those, which should appear, but there is no thumbnail for this post, so the thumbnail won't show. But you can see all the meta shows now. So you have a bit of flexibility over here. For the content, I have this restriction type as message. This post is only available to members. Again, you can change this to be a Divi layout, and you can create a Divi library layout and then assign it there, or you can have it as just truncate the posts to, I don't know, 20. Let's try 20, and let's see what happens now. There we go. So you see it's truncated to 20, and that's it. And then you can have a notice to say sign up. So then you can have an additional message saying sign up, or additional Divi layout saying, with a button. So you can kind of have truncated text with a nice Divi layout saying sign up here with a nice button or call to action, something like that. So there's a bit of flexibility on that as on there. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
That kind of reminds me of those news websites where you can see part of the article and then.
Exactly, that's it. Now, let's say I'm in my theme builder, right? And I'm creating I'm creating an all post template. And my office has suddenly got really cold. I don't know why. It's like my heater's just turned off. Don't you all love Nick Roach's face in the beginning of when you load the builder? So I'm going to add my post. Sorry?
I never get sick of his face and his hair.
Yes. So I'm going to have... So I'm just going to create a theme builder template over here. And now if I view this as a user, it should look really nice. See, okay, so this is the theme builder template now. You can see the sidebars being removed. I have the content there. And the same over here, it just says this is not available, okay? So in the settings over here, we now switch from what we were using over here to what we're using over here now, because we're using the theme builder. So in the theme builder, again, you can hide the title, things like that. But with the theme builder, I think the better option is actually to use show content in theme builder. That's kind of how I think most people would do it, okay? So I'm logged out and I can see all the content on there, which you'd probably think that's not great because now they can access everything. But everything's controlled in the theme builder now. So now I'm on a so I can go here, okay, and each module, each row, each section now has in the conditions, in the advanced tab conditions, we have some extra options here. So element visibility on restricted content. So currently it's to show, but I can hide with custom text, and I can then say, please subscribe. And I could do a link, I could add a nice button, I could do, different things there.
You could have like a download button on a page to download a song, for example, but that's hidden behind the registration.
Yes. And just to point out, sorry, basically I use some Spanish customers, you can't access their websites if your browser is in English. So my Firefox is in Spanish, so I can access it. So I don't actually understand Spanish, but it's...
Sí, yo puedo entender español.
Roby can
Qué chévere, Carlos.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Saludos.
Bien, gracias, mucho gusto.
Saludos, mi gente.
Aló, mi gente también.
So, I'm lost, but I love Carlos. Carlos got good energy. So as you can see now,
I love you too, Pete.
the content is not simply hidden with CSS. It's not there. So it's good for security because you don't want to just hide it with CSS and then customers who are clever can just inspect and remove the CSS and see it. And then it allows for some really interesting things because you could add a text block here saying please sign up, and you could add, I don't know, I mean I could do all sorts here. Sorry. So I can add like a nice button. That's just the way I'm doing it now, right? So I've just added a text module with please sign up, register. Where's this alignment? Text alignment, there you go. So I could put that in the middle, for example, and that will then show for this user. Now, the problem you're probably thinking is, well, that's going to also show for a person that is signed up, which is going to be a problem. But we have a setting in here in conditions to hide elements on permitted content. So I can say, actually, now I want to hide this for this user. Am I now? So that's not going to show. But for logged out users, it is going to show. So you can start to create some nice, interesting things. Thank you. So if we go back here, so anyway, and then with Divi Machine post content module, you can truncate your text as well. So you could use a post content from Divi Machine there, truncate it, add a nice gradient overlay over it. So it creates, Roby, can you just send me that link to that one that I sent you before? And then I'll just get it up and I'll show them.
Yes, sir.
I'll put you in the spot. But it allows you to then be really creative on the pages that people are restricted, and it gives you kind of more freedom. Now, I do know that it could be a bit overwhelming for some people, so we want to hear your feedback and we want to hear how we can make it easier for you to get how you want done, because we offer a lot of flexibility on that. So, for example, you can see this page over here. We have this section which is continue reading, and it's kind of the gradient kind of going over, and you can see part of the text. Again, this is not just, if I just go ahead and remove this gradient, the text is truncated using Divi Machine post content module. So they're not getting access. They can't use CSS to get around it. But at the same time, it looks really nice. And we're saying, hey, if you want to continue reading this, you need to subscribe. That kind of stuff. I've seen a lot of this happen a lot on recipe websites or news websites, things like that. You can see over here we've actually added a nice Divi layout in the loop module, which restricts certain posts. And actually, before I move on to that, anybody got any questions about what I've covered with the theme builder and the content restriction so far?
So all of this needs to happen in the theme builder, right? This is not just on a page. This is more applied to the theme builder itself.
Yes. So, or if you're using a default template, which is, if you're not creating a theme builder template, if you want to work on pages, you need to then do it in the theme builder. You can't just do it straight on the page. That's correct. Yeah. And if you're going to be working on pages, you need to restrict that page in the membership and then use a theme builder.
Gotcha.
So the second thing over here is the archive page loop settings. So this might be a bit scary to understand, but this impacts any loop module or templating using the query posts function. Okay. Now, when I say it might look scary because you don't know what query post means or that terminology, but any kind of loop module. So if you have the Divi blog module, they would be using query posts. Or if you have a third-party plugin, they'll be using query posts. And we can then hook into that and then display posts specific. So, for example, and I don't think I haven't got a setup of this.
But that would apply to like WooCommerce because it's got the shop module and machine and stuff like that, right?
Yes. So the idea behind this is kind of what I'm going to show here is, okay, let's say you have some houses that are free, but then you want some houses which are restricted. And that's similar. That's how you can do that. So I can say, okay, I want to have the blog module. Okay, do I have any posts which are just... It's not very pretty, but don't worry too much about that. So you can see over here, I have these demo posts which are all assigned to a membership, and the hello is not. So for when you signed out, you can see hello. When you signed in, you can't see anything. Oh, sorry, when you signed out, you can't see anything, but when you signed in, you can see everything. So this can be customized over here. So at the moment, we just say, okay, by default, we just hide them. People can't see them. But actually, let's say we want to show the restricted content. Now we can do different things. So let me just enable that, and then we can take a look. Now they get access to everything. But we showing the title, but for the content, we are showing a message saying this post is only available to members, for example. Whereas if you are a user, oh goodness, who's like me, too many pages. If you're a user, you can see the content. If you're not a user, you'll see this notice. And you can also add a Divi layout. You can do all sorts with that. When you are using, yes. Yeah, so the thumbnail as well. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep and kind of confuse the boat, should I say, because there is something else that we can do. But I think that kind of just shows it. But actually, I will show you. But if, let's say, you are on a archive page and then, some is hidden. Let's say, actually, I'm going to hide it all. And it's hidden. But on the single page, I have like a related posts module. And actually, on that one, I want to show them. How do you go about that if we're hiding everything? And in that way, we have this other setting over here, which is content inclusion, exclusion in loop. So basically, if you use global settings, if this is a blog module, sorry, I should really be editing it. So this is a blog module, right? On here, I can say, actually, what I want to do is I want to keep it. I want to keep it the same, so it's not hiding. Or actually, I want to include it in the loop. And then that should include it now. And that will override the this global setting. So you can do it like per loop module as well, and you can have control over there. But you see, it'll still follow the same rules as if you did have it. So you can still change the rules, but then disable it for everybody and then show it on some places, if that makes sense. So there's quite a bit of flexibility in terms of content restriction. I think where you would probably kind of get stuck is, or a bit maybe have a bit of an issue is working out this content access element. This is kind of the key. So you need to think about, okay, how am I going to categorize my posts, my products, my content that I want to restrict access to? How am I going to categorize that into memberships so that whoever does not have a membership does not get access to that content? And that's where I think this importer tool kind of helps, because it kind of sets that up. You can get a bit of an idea of how it can be set up. And when I say can be set up, is you can do it many different ways. A bit like Divi Machine. In Divi Machine, there's so many different ways to do things. Similar to that is we offer in flexibility, but we're just trying to help you, get one way, and then you can then explore. Other than that, we have design options for the account area, the invoicing, the content restriction. So let's say you have, this content is only available to members. You can then change the font, the color, things like that. Payment gateway is where you really need to come in. If you have your membership set up and you take in the payments, you really need to come and set up this. So you can say PayPal and Stripe. So PayPal offer like a test mode. So you want to then add that in. Stripe, we also offer a test mode for Stripe, but there is no like test mode button. You can just add your test keys in there, or your publishable keys in there, and they both will work. So if you're doing, we'd recommend you doing tests first. So on Stripe, set up your test aside, put in the keys over there. We have documentation on that. And you can also set your currency over here. And then a whole bunch of email notifications. So when a customer is welcomed, when an upcoming renewal is going to come. So let's say 60 days before the renew, you can send an email out. When it's expired, you get another email. And then you could also send another email 30 days after, for example, saying, hey, or 7 days afterwards, hey, we noticed you haven't renewed your membership. Do you want to renew now or whatever?
Pete, can you use HTML in there? So if you use like an email templating software like Stripe or something, you copy and paste that and put that in there?
I've not tested that. I can confirm. But
you can use HTML within there. It's recommended to keep it quite simple, not go too complicated with everything. But HTML is supported within there, and you've got the dynamic tags in there using the %% formatting for any of the dynamic elements. Covered in the documentation as well.
Thanks. What we do want to do is, and this will be future versions, is we want to add some nice email templates that you don't have to do much, to make it look pretty. So we will get to doing that. Yes, that's kind of our settings pages and our subscriptions. To give you an idea, where's this now? I'm lost. Sorry, I'm lost now. I'll give you an idea of kind of how the reporting looks, even though does anybody have any questions while I get this up about anything that they've seen?
I do have one, Pete. Morgan here. What about if your credit card is about to expire? Do you have like, will you send up an email or something like that? Because I know you can do that in other systems. Like if you sign up for a membership and your credit card is going to expire in 6 months and you sign up for 1 year, can you do so like you get an email that your credit card is about to expire? Please log in and update your credit card.
At the moment, we don't have an email of that. Ben, do you reckon that's possible?
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. So the email notifications at the moment are centered around your subscription status. However, what I see for the roadmap is a few additional ones there, along with a hook to basically add your own if you want to.
Yeah, that'd be good.
If you want to go down the code route for that. Again, with the payment methods as well, at the moment we've got the ability to see the payment methods within your account, but there'll also be in closely followed up release the ability to check, manage your payment methods within the account as well for Stripe. For PayPal, we'll handle that on you manage that within the PayPal account directly. So yeah, that's where
I actually had a follow-up question for that as well, because I have a lot of clients who use WooCommerce, and I think someone else already asked that question, but I wasn't like, what if are you going to make it compatible in the future, you think, with other payment gateways? Because I think like my clients, they don't want to have both the Stripe account and then whatever local, maybe a Danish, I'm from Denmark, and they usually use like a local one because you have some local payment services in Denmark that you don't have on Stripe and stuff like that. Is it going to be possible, do you think, in the future that you're going to be compatible with the WooCommerce gateways?
With WooCommerce, we haven't. I mean, I don't think that we would have them compatible with WooCommerce gateways because we wanted to not require WooCommerce, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But
that would be the payment provider. They would have to do some, I don't know, like adhere to some kind of standards.
So there's. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even think about maybe hooking up with WooCommerce payment gateways. It's not a bad idea, but we don't want people to start then installing WooCommerce just to get other payment gateways, because it wouldn't be good for the website to install WooCommerce.
People who already have WooCommerce would probably not use this plugin then if they cannot use their main. They don't want to have two different services that I have to use different companies and stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So I think with this, we'll have a look at that. But there is the ability using developer hooks because when we're discussing this, we were like, well, what are the two major ones, Stripe and PayPal? And it's hard for us to do every single gateway out there. So like South Africa uses like Pay Fast or whatever. Like there's in each country they have their own, right?
Right.
And but we do have developer hooks to then hook into that. So we could help assist in that, or you could find somebody else to help assist in that in hooking into the payment gateways. So there is the ability now to kind of plug something custom coded in there. And I think thinking about the WooCommerce, it might be something to look at as a dev team, because I think that is quite an interesting take, Morten. As you always do, you always have these interesting takes on things, which is great, because didn't even think about that.
All right, thank you, man.
But like if you need something now, you can always, so this is the kind of reporting. As you can see, it's pretty. This is like dummy data, but you can then say, okay, last month I want to see the revenue I've made last month. It's just dummy data at the moment, so don't worry too much. But this will obviously, as your store takes and stuff, it'll then report properly, And then you have signups, you have revenue, and you have signups. So we have X amount of signups per day. So you can really see on a granular scale of like how much you are making from your memberships, how much are signing up, how many are signing up, and so on. So that's just to show you.
Sorry, just to interject here with the reporting. Obviously, reporting is one of those things where different businesses require different things. So what we've done is introduced a feedback tool here. So if there's a particular type of report that you think would be beneficial to have here, or you notice that there's some inaccuracies in the data and things like that, we've rolled out a feedback tool here which comes through to us. So you don't necessarily need to open a ticket if it's not a bug, but it's like a feature request essentially. As Pete says, don't spam us, but it's a good way for us to sort of keep track of things. And we might look to roll this sort of thing out in other parts of
all our plugins.
Yeah.
Because I think it'll be helpful to know on each different area of our plugins where you might have a good idea to kind of, so yeah, this is the first one we thought this would be good to roll out and test it on. Yeah, so that's that. I think that's kind of most of it covered. Other than that, our modules. Oops, I didn't even talk about that. So before I move into our modules we provide, I just want to give one last kind of any questions before I move on. I like to not talk so much. Okay, so we created these kind of demo pages. You'll see I've added a dash demo on each of the ones, so you can see which are clearly the demo ones. So the first one is the pricing demo. So here we can see this is how it looks. It is Visual Builder compatible, but I just don't like Visual Builder myself, so I'm just gonna, and I just find it quicker. But it is working, as you can see. So the cycle switcher. So because I had to resave the initial memberships after the importer, this is another one which we need to do at the moment. So on that, I've closed the screen, but on that importer kind of at the end of it, it gave you a pop-up of what to do next. Another one is to kind of update these modules. Now, we probably will fix this very soon. And I mean, it's not like a bug. I mean, I guess it is a tiny bit bug, but it's not going to harm you. We will probably look to fix this, but at the moment, you just need to go in and just reselect this. So I'm just going to show you what this does, and then I'll run through. I'll then run through it. So I'm just updating, just so you know, it's only the price and the cycle switcher that's not working for this page. No, that's the one. This is kind of where the Visual Builder actually is helpful, because I give you a notice saying, please make sure you select the right billing cycle. So I'll explain that in a minute, but it's actually Pro I want, not Basic. There you go. So actually the Visual Builder, Visual Builder actually is very helpful. So here we go. So we have the cycle switcher, we have our Basic, we have our Pro membership. Based on our memberships here, you can see we have Basic and Pro. We have these two billing cycles, monthly and annual. How do you get the user to sign up to the right one? Well, here's one way you can do it. You can say, actually, I want to, use annual, monthly. They can switch it. They can then click on that, and then they'll go through to the register page with the correct one selected. So this one, I guess we'll go to the cycle switcher first. So this module, I'm just going to make this bigger actually, and I'll just chuck this on the side. So this module, the first thing you need to do is to select the cycles. Now, you could just have a select, which basically just has your name. I don't know why I get on with that. I just don't. It has like, did I just say your name? It has a select drop down. So you can say, okay, I want to do manual. And again, that does exactly the same. You can add it inside. If I want to then go ahead and add it inside this Basic one, or let's add it into this Pro. And I only want to, switch between the Pro ones. Now let's just see what happens. Now I can then only switch in the Pro one. So you can offer, you might want to have 3 membership tiers. One Basic, one Pro, one, I don't know, Elite, I don't know what I want to do. And the Pro one is the only one that has monthly and annual, for example. Then you can add it inside the same column, and then it will only update the data on that one column, if that makes sense, rather than the other two. So there's some flexibility there as well. Because some memberships may not all be identical the way we've done it with monthly, annual. With the toggle, you need to have them the same names. So you can see over here, I have monthly, annual. So when you create another membership, you need to make sure you also have monthly and annual, the same names for the toggle to work. The select is different. The select can kind of be different, but the toggle needs to kind of be the same. Or if it's outside, it needs to be the same. So first of all, we select that. Then we can select the default billing cycle, the switcher style, and then you can then customize it. Customize the design and stuff in the back end.
Pete, I got a quick question here from Helene on whether we can use the plugin with the LMS website, the learning management system.
Yes, So LMS would be custom post type. So yes, would be my answer. Again, I haven't tested it like WooCommerce, but I can guarantee it'll work. And if it doesn't work, then just give us a shout and we'll make sure it works. Because there are custom post types, and we're showing and hiding custom post types and content. So yeah.
So like with Divi Machine, that would be ideal, probably.
Yeah. Then we have so our next module, so everything's in this folder, Divi membership. So we have a login form. The login form simply is a login form. Cycle switcher, membership item. So this is kind of how I made all this over here. So you basically you choose your membership. So I want to say, okay, for Pro, I want to show the membership title for the Pro. And that will then show the Pro, or the description, or the billing cycle title, but then you need to choose which is the billing cycle. Now, because the limitations of the Divi Builder, it was a bit hard for us to kind of dynamically update this based on Pro. So ideally, we wanted to then only show the Pro options here, but we can't do that because of the current Divi Builder. Hopefully with Divi 5, we can make an improvement like this. So you just need to make sure that you have the correct one listed here. So you see it says Divi Membership Pro. We're making sure that it's under the Pro. If you choose monthly, for example, under Basic, it won't show the correct data. And you'll see over here, it actually says, please make sure you have selected the right billing cycle. So we kind of give you a bit of a warning saying, please make sure you select the right one there. You can change the HTML tag if you wish. So we have this thing called inline width that allows you to do things like this. So you see, I've got this $20. Oh, actually, I did per user, but you could have per, and then you could then add the frequency, for example, and make the price and the frequency inline, and then they'll then go next to each other. Then you can also do a membership features table, which is pretty much that. Oh, beautiful. You can change the font size, don't worry. But that's it over there. The other option is a features loop layout. So again, you can, in the Divi library, you can create your own loop layout if you're familiar with that. If you're not familiar with that, let me know. I can explain it, but I don't want to kind of go over stuff if people know it. And then you can then add all your features in there in the loop layout, or your one feature, maybe with a nice icon or something like that, and then you can use a loop layout here. So you can see we've got this features titles and feature description for the loop layout. And then finally the register button, and that will then redirect to a page like register. And the idea is that when you click it, it will then redirect you to the register page with the appropriate membership that you've selected. The other modules we have, I'm just kind of adding stuff on here, so it looks a bit weird. Registration form. So here is much the same. Under layout options, we have, enable payment form, and in here you can have Stripe and PayPal. Let me just actually go to that register page. I'm just going to discard all that. So you can see if I go here, I should actually get some. Yeah. So the way this works, and it explains in that pop-up, is in the register module, there's a number of different ways what you can do. So I have this register form. Now, let me just get that URL. Let's go into the Firefox, Mr. Firefox. Okay. So I'm in Firefox, and I go to register. And here I have this register page, and here you can select your plan. And do I have the? Do I have that? So there's no payments showing, and the reason being is because I haven't enabled it. So if you just enable it, it'll appear, but you need to actually add the correct API keys for it to actually work. So I haven't added that, but you can see now I can choose PayPal, I can choose Stripe. And then there'll be icons as well that'll appear there. So the sign up module is much the same. Yeah, PayPal and Stripe. So that in this register module, I can also choose what happens if a user's already if a user's logged in. They can auto log in after register. Sorry, they can auto log in after register. But if they're already if there's already a logged in user, I can redirect them to another page. And I've created a sign up page. So you can see on this page, I have a sign up page, and this is using our sign up module. And this is for users that already have an account on your website, but you want them to sign up to the membership. You offer this option. If their users are not logged in, you want them to register and sign up. So that's kind of the two differences over there. Let's move on to the sign up form, which I explained. And then like the user list and user item is kind of the other ones which we need to discuss. This isn't really, it's not everybody's going to need this, but the user list will display a list of users, the list of basically your members. So I have these members over here, and in here you can say actually you can use a custom loop layout as well. But in here you can then say actually I want to show specific users or members only and members who only have the pro plan. So here you can create kind of like let's say you have a marketplace where people sign up, or even a resume site, and people have to sign up to get premium users, and their resumes go higher on the homepage or something like that. You can use that to then show those users who have the premium or the pro plan, something like that. And then there's a number of different options over there. And then if you're using the loop layout or on the membership single page, you then have a user item module. And here you can say, okay, I want to show the user's name. I want to show their email. I want to show their biography, their avatar, things like that. And again, that can be shown or hidden based on user, based on the membership. So if a person has a membership to pro, then you can then show their number, but then if they're not, so you can really use that as well. So that's kind of, I don't want to kind of go too long or too in depth or too granular, but that kind of gives you an idea of what can be done with the plugin. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably just end it there and open to any other questions anybody might have at the moment. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Yes.
Yes.
It's about granted access, like WordPress. You have admin, subscriber, and so on. So when I'm creating access, can I give a parent access? When I give the pro one, can he give automatically the demo or other access underneath this level?
So on Ben, also feel free if you also know, but on the register form, you obviously define what the user role is. But this doesn't get changed based on the membership type, isn't it, Ben? So it's for everybody.
Yeah. So at the moment, you can just assign one user role for any user created. I don't think having an option that sort of changes it based on the membership would be wildly different, and I can see some use case there for that. So I think we could probably look to add that to the roadmap for a sort of short-term
that
release.
does sound good. In your use case, how does that work then? Is it do you have different permissions for the different users?
I'm just thinking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. If I want to give them a video, okay, and the one with the level 1 have access to the whole video, but I don't need to say the level 1 have access to this video, the level 2 have access to this video. So I want just to choose the admin one, like for example, and it can have access to all the videos, regardless the other admin access.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's understandable or not. Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, you can do that with the user roles, or if the videos, for example, are on the front end, the best place to do that would be within the membership. So if you had a custom post type called videos, and that's your library, your video library, if you were to create categories for that, let's call it basic and pro, or admin and demo, within your content access for the membership plans, for basic, you would say categories basic, categories pro accordingly. And then everyone could have subscriber access, because that gives greater security from a WordPress standpoint. And then the access to the videos is then controlled based on the categories that the video sits in. That would be the ideal way of setting that up.
So at the moment, you can see here I have, actually it should be categories, but this categories, this basic users have access to the categories basic, but then the pro user has access to pro and basic. And we did have a look, and it is hard because of the logic. We did have an option where you could do like all, so access to all categories or all posts, which is kind of what you want. But then let's say you want to have some free. It's the logic is kind of, so I think if that's what you want, it's something that we need to also explore in terms of like an all access one, how that works with people who have free, because you also then need to show some of them for like free users. It's hard to explain, but the logic in the back end. But for now, you just create these different categories, and then you assign the videos to different categories, and then you make the pro membership have access to all the different categories.
Yeah. Okay.
So what we'll be doing for our documentation as well is, aside from our usual getting started guide and the documentation surrounding features and modules, we're going to start introducing guides here. So the guide will be kind of like a mini tutorial on how to create a particular setup. So we'll have pricing page, a feature loop layout, and so things like this, where we can create a scenario for content restriction, we can add guides related to that as well. So
we will be adding that very soon, because I think that's so important, is giving people real life examples of the content restriction. At the moment, here are docs, just so you can see. So we have, getting started, everything we've run through today, adding your membership, how it looks, configure your payment gateways, Divi memberships, account area, PDF generation. So we go through everything which I've spoken about now, some of the modules, the register form, the sign up module, and we'll be adding some more screenshots as we go. And then the guides is kind of key. That's also what we really want to make sure that for you, for example, the question you had is give an example how to set it up. So then you just go, okay, that's how I do it.
Okay.
And we are going to be doing that. But there's our nice shiny new documentation
page. Yeah.
That's it. Yes. Yes. Anybody else got any comments or questions? So I think it's the way I can see it is this is like version 1, right? So we have so much more we want to be doing to this plugin, and we need to also hear feedback. Like, it's hard for us because I'm very much under the mindset of trying to understand what you guys need and how you guys use the tool to then shape us on the way that we go, And if we go too deep into it, it's hard to kind of then change it, if you know what I mean. So we like to just start off with a really solid foundation and then expand out and add some really cool new features. But I think we do add a lot at the moment in terms of flexibility.
Yeah, Pete, there's another question out there from guest 127 about the compatibility with Divi machine accounts and whether you'd be able to build specific accounts for the membership.
Would Divi machine work with this plugin? So Divi machine accounts, would it work with this plugin? So we don't have any modules that are for like the payment gateways or displaying the invoices or anything like that. I guess we could add shortcodes, which would be easy to do. We were thinking about doing a similar account area to Divi machine accounts. The problem is we just were trying to make sure that the plugin is not too big in terms of, we wanted to make sure it was streamlined, that it wasn't too bulky, So Divi machine accounts uses a custom post to create your account area, which adds really unique flexibility. But then it's another custom post type, and the more custom post types you add, things can start to get a bit bloated in your database. Not to say Divi machine accounts is bloated because it's a very simple plugin, but Divi membership is quite a complicated plugin, and so we wanted to kind of restrict it a little bit. So the account areas, there isn't too much that you can do there apart from design-wise. Now, again, we want to hear your feedback on that because that's something that I want to explore. Do we look at maybe a shortcode option on a page or something like that to kind of allow more flexibility? That's something that we're definitely going to be exploring. So if there's anything with that Divi machine accounts that you really want in the membership plugin, give us a shout and let us know. It was really hard. It was a really tough decision for us as a dev team to make in this specific example and many other examples, because there's so many different ways to do it, and we're just trying to find the right way to do it. And the other thing that I guess we do well is we add a lot of flexibility, but then new customers come there and are like, whoa, this is too much, and they get blown away. So it's trying to also offer some, ease, as well as, but then there's some restrictions there, so just let us know what you want in that, and then we can look to make something happen for you. But basically, to answer your question, I wouldn't use Divi machine accounts alongside Divi membership because Divi membership has an account area. If you wanted the wish list, if you wanted the wish list option, then you probably would use Divi machine accounts, and then we could look at a shortcode option to integrate in with that.
Yeah, just to add to this is that obviously as we've spoken in previous workshops with Divi 5 on the horizon and things, is that with the development process for that, we're keeping it in mind that hopefully that's not too far in the future, and that at the moment taking an approach where the account pages aren't modules or aren't shortcode driven things it doesn't commit us to having to rebuild everything in that for Divi 5 in the future. And actually, when we have a better idea of what's needed for that, we can address things like making the accounts section, provide modules so it works with machine accounts as well. So that's part of the decision-making process here, is trying to keep that module dependency down to create less disruption for future updates.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hard one because while we were developing Divi membership, we kind of held off it for a while, thinking Divi 5 is going to come sooner, and then we're like, okay, let's just go with it. And then, we're trying to restrict the amount of modules, as Ben said, because we have to redo all the modules, which is going to be fun. I bet, yeah. Sarcasm, but great. Okay, so so thanks, guys and ladies and gents. I just used the word guys, but I'm sorry for any ladies. Yeah, I didn't mean like that. Oh my word. Hey. Cool.
Great. Have a good day, everybody.
And I'm just going to throw some snowballs at guest 127 and Morton.
Press and hold T if you wish to throw a snowball.
And Chris. And guest 296 and Carlos and Tim. Cool, guys. Yeah, so thanks.
Maybe one thing we want to add is that the beta will be available after this workshop in your accounts, if you're a member. So check it out.
Yeah, give us a little bit more time, because as I said, I did package that plugin up, and I just need to double check it if it was. I think it was because I was logged into an incognito window at the same time. So I think I just want to double check it, and it'll be available if you're a member in your account area. If you're not, sign up to get our All Access Plus, and you get access to Divi membership as well. Best time to save money is now during the Black Friday sale.
Because we're adding an extra 5% to celebrate the launch of the plugin. So it's now 35% off the All Access passes. So definitely take advantage through Friday. We even extended the sale for you guys. So get on board.
As you can tell, I'm not very good at the sales pitch. I'm not too sure I'm good at any pitches. I just talk.
And code.
And throw snowballs.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a great day. I'm going to shoot off, grab some lunch, and then come back and get this plugin packaged and released.
Awesome.
Cheers, Pete.
Have a great day.